What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Mike Check podcast. Always a good time to talk about hockey, especially when it's playoff season. Joined by Sam. Sam, how are we feeling?
We're feeling good. Playoffs are in full swing. I'm loving the series so far. They've been all real competitive.
Absolutely. By the way, happy Thursday. I don't think we've actually ever
Happy
done a
Thursday.
show on a Thursday, so a little off pace. But then again, like we said, we're in the playoffs, so this is just you got to be ready to go at any time, and
For sure.
that's what we're getting into. So basically, we're just breaking down what we've seen so far in the second round, and we'll go from each series and just give our intake of what we like, what we dislike, what shocked us, that type of stuff. So without further ado, I think we should go right into the game that's on right now, and that's the New Jersey Devils versus the Carolina Hurricanes. And obviously, Carolina has a huge series lead right now, but ultimately down in this game 2-1, and the second period is coming to a close. What have you seen in this series so far? What's really, I guess, shocked you?
Yeah, Carolina, I think, has impressed me so much in this series. I picked them to win the cup earlier this year because of their depth, and they were losing a lot of depth as the series were going on, losing Teravainen, Svechnikov, Pacioretty, all these guys before even the playoffs got into it. But they may even have more depth than I thought. Guys like Stefan Noesen, Jesper Foss taking on bigger roles, and not really missing a beat. Obviously, they may have struggled a little bit in that first series, I think, getting their legs and playing a team that's real physical and real tough in the New York Islanders. But against this faster, more skill based team, the New Jersey Devils, you really start to see them play their game, and it really starts to seem like they're this good of a team, right? And against this New Jersey team, they do seem to be outperforming them, even with that one blip game.
Yeah, I'm watching literally this game. Up, they just tied it.
Oh,
Holy
man.
Holy smokes. Yeah. And you know what? It was Brett Burns that just scored too. So
Yeah,
that kind of
pretty
just
good.
I mean, that's everything you said to go out and do before the beginning of the season and during your, trade deadlines is go and get those impactful players for big moments. That right there, I mean, that could be the goal that gets the momentum flipped and they could ultimately go on to the Eastern Conference Finals after this
100%.
game. So, yeah, it seems like even with all the stuff that they've gone through, injury wise, they're still fighting. They're a very mature team. I feel like we were at least myself was kind of counting them out. Would be like, oh, they always choke no matter what. It seems like they've got a different ideology of how they want to go through each and every series, and that's paying off for them. Um, There's a 2-on-1. Oh, that's crazy. Sorry, getting distracted. Love hockey. Love
Yeah.
hockey. But anyways, yeah, no, basically I'm looking at Carolina and as of right now, the position they're in, I am now very, very sure that they are the best team in the Eastern Conference left, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
I think I agree with you. And I mean, Brent Burns scored. To touch on Brent Burns, I mean, that was one of my favorite additions of the offseason for
Yeah.
Carolina. Like, if you gave up on Brent Burns after some down years in San Jose, you don't know hockey, flat out. This dude is, even at his advanced age, unbelievably good.
Oh
And to
God,
get
yeah.
to a system like Carolina's, it fits perfectly. You see the impact he has now. 37 years old. He wants the cup, and he's going to give it his all to get that cup for this team.
Absolutely. So right now we've got 9 seconds left on the clock here. Slowly trailing down. Devils get it out of the zone. Might be an icing. It's really going to be 2 seconds left here in the second period. So we've got a 2-2 game here
Hmm.
in Carolina going into the third period. I just like Carolina's odds. They were the last team to score. It's a lot of these games is depending if you go up or down. It comes down to next score wins.
Yep.
I think that last goal, in my opinion, is going to set the tone for this third period. I think Carolina could easily just come out on top tonight and be waiting to see what happens between Toronto and Florida.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about having playoff experience and having those battle scars. And Carolina is certainly a team with a lot of playoff losses as well as wins under their belt. Like this core is going on what, 4 or 5 years together now at this point.
Yeah,
They've been good for that amount of time too. The Aho, Svechnikov, Slavin core, whatever you'd like to call it. I mean, it's hard to characterize it by two or three players considering just how much depth they've had. And regardless of that, their experience is showing against a pretty young Devils team who did a great job getting out of the first round against a very good New York Rangers team. But I think the experience is starting to show itself, and this is a point in the playoffs where you need experience, where you're down in the series, things, and then the momentum kind of flips. Right now, Carolina scores at the tie game. It's going to be really easy for New Jersey to roll over here, and just
Yeah.
it's going to be tough for them to get back in this.
I wanted to ask you though, if we are to go the other direction and pick, try to basically go through a script where the New Jersey Devils win this series.
Mm-hmm.
How does that start in this third period? Like, what do they need to do against this Carolina team that has just suffered so much, but they still fight and they stay consistent?
I think it starts with Akira Schmid and Nets. He gave him back the goal after giving Vitek Vanacek a couple opportunities, and we saw him shut out, not necessarily shut out, but really close the door pretty effectively against the New York Rangers. And this is obviously a tougher team to do that against because they're not as predictable. But I think it starts with him, and if he can make a couple key saves with the momentum flipping the other way towards Carolina, if he can get the stop, it might buy them enough time to maybe get a few chances going the other way, sort of get Carolina to overcommit. You get their defensemen a little bit too activated, and that's where you start your other attacks, is on that sort of balance the other way.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd also say too, it's crucial for New Jersey not to get into penalty trouble. I just think with the experience that they've had on this team, and just for how long they've been chasing this dream to at least get to the Stanley Cup since winning, and just at least this core, these guys on a power play, if they've got one man advantage, they're gonna make it count, and that's what is so scary in them. And also, we've seen in this series already the amount of shorthanded goals that have gone in. So it's like you'd rather just play straight up 5-on-5 hockey than you might get a little nervous on a power play every once in a while if you're New Jersey, because you're like, it can go either way. Either way, it's super fun to watch. I'm gonna take Carolina to win tonight, though. I just think it being in Carolina, like young team in this New Jersey group here, and I don't see the outcome of the New Jersey Devils being the champions from this series, at least from tonight too. I'm gonna take Carolina. I think they'll probably score one, and then I think they'll get an empty net. I think it'll be like a 4-2 final.
I think New Jersey pulls this one out in overtime, kind of weathers the storm coming up in this third period and sneaks a goal in. But I think in Game 6, Carolina ends up just running the table.
I like that. It's good prediction. All right, let's move on to the next Eastern Conference Eastern Conference series. We've got your Florida Panthers versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. They had the opportunity to get the sweep. I don't know about you. We'll get your opinion. I'll say this really quick. I'm not a Florida Panthers fan, but at all. But did I really want to see the Leafs get swept? Yes. Did I care though that they didn't get swept? Was I so concerned about it? Not really. I still think Florida's the better team here. Basically Florida. The only way they lose is them shooting themselves in the foot. I don't think it's going to be the, unbelievable Toronto Maple Leafs team that comes out and wins this series if that were to happen. The only way I can see it going where Toronto moves on is Florida just shoots themselves in the foot, just making dumb mistakes left and right, not playing what their usual game, at least what they did in the first round and the first 3 games of this series. What are your thoughts?
Well, to start off, I did care a little bit about Florida getting the sweep because I did have a little bit of money on a Panthers.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Man, it was so close.
It would have been nice.
It would have been nice. Those odds were juicy. Anyway, but on the whole, the grander scheme of things, yeah, I don't see this being much of a concern for the Panthers. Give credit to Toronto in that last game, that Game 4. They played a very strong defensive game, limiting the Panthers' chances on the rush and on the cycle, really, just really keeping everything outside And that was really strong of them to protect their young goaltender, Joseph Wall, from having a big collapse, which could have happened. And that's credit to them. But they also kind of got away with that one too, because if you saw that first goal, it took one of the craziest bounces off a referee
Oh yeah.
and right into William Nylander for the goal. So, I mean, even with that incredible game they played, they still needed quite the bounce to pull it out. So for me, Florida's been the stronger, more well-equipped team this series, even if the talent disparity it does go towards Toronto on the whole. I think Florida has proven to be feistier, tougher, more equipped for playoff hockey than Toronto has so far, and that's evident by the 3-0 series lead.
Yeah, I agree, and I'll mention this too. It's more the style, and the ways that Florida is getting their goals versus Toronto, and I'll give a quick explanation. When I see Toronto, you know, getting goals or getting on the board, whatever it may you want to call it, it's more them shooting from the point and getting lucky, not lucky, but getting redirects every once in a while, and usually it's when they're down. So it's, you know, we made a great play, but the way I look at playoff hockey, nitty grittiness, is you need to rush the net, right? All their superstars, except for O'Reilly, do not rush the net, in my opinion. I think O'Reilly is just, one of those class act guys where he's made a living in front of the net. He's got a really good backhand, very good at moving the puck in quick and tight places. Your other guys, Matthews, Tavares, I mean, it seems like they're the ones who kind of go outward to try and get a shot more than just be like, let's just go right into the middle of chaos and try and get this thing across the line. I see the Florida Panthers, not saying all their goals are like that, but a majority of them from the first round and going into the second round, they got at least somebody in front of the net, and then they get even closer for the shot. I think that's so crucial, and that's the reason why they've been so successful. It seems like they're in Toronto, they're trying to get the perfect play, the perfect setup, the perfect pass. That's not going to win you playoff series, right? You have to take shots when, even if it doesn't look like the best time to do it, if you're close to the net, go ahead and just put it on net, see what happens. Get a scrum going. And I think that's just the nitty grittiness of the Florida Panthers. That's why I'm still going to take them going forward. Like I said, the only way Toronto wins this series is if Florida just loses their identity. And I don't think they're going to anytime soon.
Yeah, to that point, the four core forwards that the Maple Leafs had, Matthews, Nylander, Marner, and Tavares.
Yeah.
Those four guys, game 4 was the first time any one of them scored a goal in this series.
Yeah.
So the Panthers have done an excellent job looking at their strength and saying, we're taking it away, beat us any other way. That means blocking their shooting lanes, their passing lanes, the things that make them who they are, right? Matthews' crazy shot, Mitch Marner's amazing playmaking, William Nylander's general opportunism, and John Tavares' just sense of the game. Those guys have been, for lack of a better word, neutralized in this series. And credit to guys like Sam Lafferty and Alex Kerfoot, who have taken advantage from time to time and potted some goals for their team.
Yeah.
But that's not going to be good enough if Sam Lafferty's the one getting you goals. It's just not against the Florida Panthers team or any playoff team, really. The big four that you're paying $35 million to have to be the ones contributing at that level. And I think the Panthers have done a good job in this playoff series just taking that away and making anyone else beat them or making them beat them a different way, right? If Matthews can get to the net or Marner can get to the net and be physical, they probably could score a few goals, but they're not doing that. That's not the way they want to play. I think the Panthers have done a great job at being able to do other things when their main things have been taken away, right? Barkov is not getting his shooting lanes. That's fine. He's going to be a great playmaker. Kachuk's not getting to the net as easily. That's fine. He's going to set up his other teammates to be great as players. And so that's what I think has been the biggest difference for the Panthers in this series is just finding different ways, right? Sam Reinhart has been excellent in this series. On the third line with Eetu Luostarinen and Anton Lundell, they've developed incredible chemistry. And that's your third line, right? They take away the top two lines, that's fine. They've figured out other ways, and I think the Maple Leafs have yet to do that. And this game 4, they avoided a sweep. They did a really good job staying disciplined. I do not see the Panthers playing that badly again for 3 straight games.
Yeah, I agree. I love that you touched up on that, take with the Leafs there. I totally agree. I think Toronto, those star players that you mentioned, I feel like are so successful just with one formula. I feel like it takes them a while to, if their formula gets shut down and they have to reconstruct and create something new, it's going to take them a long time to figure that out.
A
They
more
can't.
harsh critic would call them power play merchants. Not me,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
someone might.
Amen on that. I like that one. I'm gonna have to start using that around my boys. That's good. That's good. I'm gonna start using that. But no, I just think they don't have the ability to flip the switch of making adjustments right away compared to some of these other teams. And I think it's just because of they're so well known out there in the league that everybody does their homework. Everybody studies the film on these guys. Once you crack them, what else can you really do? And they're in their heads, and they're these superstars when they're playing with each other, they realize we've got 4 quote unquote superstars on the ice right here. They're all going to turn into playmakers, and someone's not going to know when to shoot the puck.
Yep.
They're going to overthink it and not play simple hockey, which in my opinion the Panthers are. They're playing old school simple hockey right now. And so that's why I think Toronto is in that blender outside of Florida, just really doing a good job in shutting them down, taking away their superstars. So yeah, I think this one will be done. They play tomorrow, right?
They do play tomorrow.
Yeah, so I think it'll be done tomorrow in Toronto. I think we see just the excitement and the aggression of a Florida Panthers team that's on the road once again, having the opportunity on the road to say to all their fans, all the Leaf fans, hey, you're done. We're moving on. See you later. We saw that in the first round with Boston in Game 7. I think they're going to go right off of that mojo and get it done tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I mean, the Leafs, it's a great point about the Leafs. They're well known for this one thing, and it's it's definitely to their credit. I mean, every time Austin Matthews has a 2-on-1, I am terrified because that shot is, I mean, it's the best shot we've seen since Prime Ovechkin, really. It's that good.
Yeah.
But again,
I agree.
Sergei Bobrovsky's been up to the task. He's not afraid of the moment. The defensemen have not been afraid of the task. And I think going into this Game 5, I agree with you. They've been in worse spots. And they've been against harder teams in this playoff run. I mean,
like what I'll mention really quick though, sense of where they finished and the type of season they had from deadline to the last game of the regular season when they knew they were going into the playoffs, or after some help came out. This is a team that's not entitled by any way. So they know that they're up 3-1. They just have to win one more game, right? Toronto has to win 3 more games in order to win it. I don't think that Florida and that locker room is thinking, okay, tomorrow night we'll give it our all, but if not, we have another chance. I truly believe these guys are just so well put together, and the way that they came together at the end of that season, they are going to annihilate the Leafs tomorrow. I'm literally predicting probably like a 4-1 victory for them. I think they're going to be ready to go. I think they're fired up. I think this is a team that we'll see, go move on to the next series, but they love to play on the road, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah, you're 100% right. They've played much better, I think, on the road in these playoffs than they have at home, which is very strange, but definitely characteristic of this team. And yeah, going to this game, I think they're probably thinking, they ruined our sweep. We're going to kill them.
Yeah.
No, we're fine. We have a few games. I don't think that's what their process is, right? That hasn't been their thought process all year. They've been like do or die this entire stretch from trade deadline to this playoff run. It's always been, this is our group. We have to score. We have to do this now. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So going to this, I think Toronto might get off to a little bit of a hot start with the home crowd and feeling a little bit good about themselves coming off a win. They might get their wheels turning, but as this game wears on and as it gets more physical, Florida's just going to grind them down. And I think take Game 5.
Yeah, I think they'll win. I think they're just going to win outright. So I think that's the only thing we disagree on, at
How
least in
badly
this
they're
series.
going to win.
Yeah, God. All righty. Well, I think that's going to sum it up for the Eastern Conference Final.
That, right?
Florida Panthers versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Can't speak today. Yeah, that's crazy. I don't think I saw that. I don't think anybody saw that one coming.
No way.
Yeah, whoever made that bet, yeah, you deserve that money. I mean, come on now. Let's go over to the Western Conference and let's go Golden Knights and Oilers.
Mm-hmm.
Series tied 2-2. This is a all right. I'll mention this. There have been more lopsided games, I feel like, in this NHL playoffs than ever before.
Like, I don't know how to fact check that, but I think I see what you're saying.
I mean, like literally, the scores are like 5-1, 6-2. Like it's just so lopsided. Like we don't have those. We don't get too many of those 3-2 games anymore. Or like literally, basically what I'm saying, those 1-goal games. And I'm not even talking like getting an empty net. Like literally, just the outcome is 5-4. Someone scores a goal with like 3 minutes left or something like that, right? I don't feel like we've gotten a lot of that in the second round, especially too. But just watching the Knights and Oilers, for the outcomes that have been, so like obviously the last game was 4-1 Oilers. It seemed a lot closer, in my opinion. Like it seems like these guys really do battle it out until that third goal goes in. It's 3-0. Like I don't know. I feel like this is such an even matchup. I mean, it's 2-2. They've each split one at the opponent's home turf, home ice. And I think this is going to be a battle out to 7. I think Vegas is probably the favorite here still. I'm picking the Oilers because I just think this is the year of McDavid. But I love that we've ignited the spark in this past game of what playoff hockey is with all the hits and stuff. Not saying it's what we want. We don't want any injuries and stuff, but now we've got like true beef between the Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers. Like who would ever think you would be saying that in a sentence, which I love, right? This is like, it's like almost the start of, I don't know, like making a nice prime steak for dinner or something like that. You're throwing a little bit of spice here and there, and then you're ultimately trying to get to that ultimate result. And I think that ultimate result is going to be a Game 7. And literally, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm flipping a coin, though, and I'm taking the Oilers. I really like this series. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, I picked Vegas going into this, and I'm still picking Vegas, but I feel worse about it. Because as I've watched the series, I feel more confidence that Vegas is the better team. And I feel even more confident that Connor McDavid is the truth. And we are watching greatness in front of us, and it does not matter.
Yeah.
And so I go back and forth. I think in the end, structure and wins out. And I'm ready to be proven wrong because, oh my God, this dude is unbelievable. And he's got a teammate that is maybe the second best player in the league.
I mean, it's the best duo since prime Crosby and Malkin.
Yeah, it's that.
It was better. It's better. They haven't won a cup yet, but
the talent is.
If they win a cup this year, they're well ahead of schedule of beating that duo.
Yeah, the talent is better. Just pure talent. No one moves like Connor McDavid moves. It doesn't exist. I don't know where he learned to skate, but maybe on Mars they skate like that. It's not Earth.
No, he's probably hanging out with Elon Musk up there too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's their little boys club where they talk hockey.
That's right. It's just those two. I love it.
Just
I love it.
them.
I love it. But yeah, no, I mean, I obviously I think the favorite is Vegas, and the
Mhm.
reason why is just because I think they've got a bunch of older, more skillful and experienced explosive vets
Yeah,
than the Oilers outside. I mean, the Oilers really do have they just have McDavid and Drysdale. I mean, like that's
just.
if you take those two players out, even just McDavid, if you take McDavid out, yeah, I mean, Leon's still gonna be a great hockey player, but he's not gonna be able to handle it, right? He's not
No.
gonna be able to get you the results and lead you into these series and games won. So
Yeah, the difference between the
that's why
Oilers losing McDavid and the Knights losing Jack Eichel, for instance, it's not even a comparison.
no, it's not. It's not. So and I look at just the split time. I mean, you got to remember when Vegas came into the league, Carlson was on fire, right?
Yeah,
Like everybody was talking about William Carlson, William Carlson.
he's a player.
If he went cold for a game, they have plenty of other guys out there in that system that can go out and score you 2 goals or have a 3 to 4 point night, right?
100%.
Like that's the thing. No one on Edmonton, no one, it's not even close, can pull that off except for Leon. Like if
Yeah,
McDavid's not there.
yeah.
So, and also too, Vegas is way more physical than Edmonton.
Physical and defensively structured, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's not even close. So, like, obviously, the fact that I'm still picking the Oilers is insane. It's insane. I just got the faith in McDavid this year.
Mhm.
I think we're going to see some crazy stuff. I think we will get to game 7. I think that is the outcome we are on track for. And I'm all for it. I think the way it's going to go, I think Oilers will win their next game, go up 3-2. Vegas then will conquer, and then yeah, then we're due for a game 7.
Game 7 work.
And I think when we get to that game 7, I mean it'll be every little bit of drama that you want. I think it'll be the closest game going into like overtime, or if anything, maybe a goal scored very late in the third. It's going to be emotional. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be everything you want to watch. So make sure you tune in when that game 7 definitely happens, because I got to feel
Oh
for it.
man, picking against Connor McDavid in a game 7, I feel bad for Vegas fans for this one. Just having to go against that guy, it's a do or die game. I mean, I would be terrified.
Oh, yeah, I would too. Man. I didn't even like think about that fully through. I'm just thinking about them getting to overtime. But gosh, couldn't imagine being a Knights fan just like shaking, being like,
Hence,
"Oh my God, McDavid's on the ice for about a minute.
they wouldn't take
He's gonna have 5 chances to score." God,
yeah, I mean, is this how you saw the 2015 draft playoff series going? The McDavid Eichel playoff series was this the most likely outcome?
no, because I
Around
was still salty that we lost the draft lottery.
unbelievable.
We did. Like literally, my life would be so much easier if we had just won that. I'm not even saying I wanted a Stanley Cup by now. I just wanted to have the greatest, potentially, probably going to be the greatest of all time in
The
Connor
greatest talent
McDavid.
we've ever seen. We'll see.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God. So
I mean, I remember Jack Eichel was supposed to be this great consolation prize, right? He'd be the first overall pick in any other year. Is that supposed to make you feel better? Come on.
no, I'm good. Yeah, he's no longer here. So maybe that's why I'm rooting for the Oilers too. No saltiness.
I looked at a redraft of that year, and like Eichel's like 8th or 9th. I would put him.
Yeah, it's not that great, to be honest.
Great.
No. All right.
That's okay.
Well, that's gonna wrap up that series. Let's get into the last one here, and we've got the Kraken in Dallas. Once again, the games are so lopsided. They're not like actually
strange.
close, and it's so weird because like Ottinger goes from like what the hell happened? Like you don't have no confidence whatsoever. What did he let up in that? What was it? Game 3 or whatever? Game 2 it was like 7. I thought it was like 7 goals. It was something bad, but either way, like just not himself, whatever it was. But then immediately you get into the next game and Dallas wins like 6-1 or something like that. It's so lopsided, and I don't know why we're not getting closer hockey games.
I mean, it's very strange in particular with Jake Ottinger because he's the talent of Jake Ottinger is. I mean, you look at him one night, you think, wow, he got snubbed from the Vezina. Like he's not a finalist. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
The night you're like, is this guy an NHL player? Did you just pick him off the street? Like, what is that?
yeah,
And it's, I mean, what Jake Ottinger do you bet on, right? I mean, it's so bizarre because he was great this year, and then 2 games out of 4 now against, frankly, an inferior opponents, he's let in some absolute stinkers and cost them the game. So, I mean, you look at the series, maybe it's time to give Seattle a little bit of credit because they've been a very good team all year and they've won games despite having bad goaltending. And now they have good goaltending because Phil Grubauer is having a great resurgence in the playoffs.
yeah.
But at the same time, I look at this and I think, man, Dallas can just choose to win.
I know.
They don't have to make this a close series. And
well, it's like for me, it's just seeing when they don't win. All right, so let's remember that first game was insane, like absolutely insane.
Yes.
5-4 our Kraken in overtime. I think Pavelski had 4 goals that game.
Yes.
Absolutely nuts.
Insane.
Your man had 4 goals, and then the following game, I'm pretty sure he had 2 more goals when they won 4-2, or at least 1. I'm just saying though, like then you get to these lopsided games. In Game 3, Seattle wins 7-2. So like, how come all your guys and Pavelski, Ben, Sagan, they just go cold turkey for the game and they can't score, and their defense is just that bad one day and then really good the next day? Like it's just so lopsided to me. I don't know how this like happens, because I feel like in playoffs, even if it is a series, you're like at least always on your A game and it should be closer. The fact that you go from a 7-2 loss and then completely flip the switch and go 6-3 win, it's like you've relearned to play the position in a matter of 2 days.
Yeah.
Like that's just mind-boggling to me. So, I mean, I just would like to see something closer, and I totally agree with what you're saying. I think Dallas is kind of just there when they could be easily dominating this series.
Mm-hmm.
I think they just have a better better roster. Let's be real. I think they have the most experienced team left in the entire Western Conference, with guys that are just thirsty to go win cups.
Absolutely.
So go out and do it. Don't say that you want to do it. Just go out and do it. I mean, these guys are in their like late 20s. Most of them actually probably are in their mid 30s.
Pavelski's like 37, I think.
And they always talk about it, and they're always like, "Oh, dude, I just want a shot at winning the cup here." Well, guess what? You have the team, Dallas.
You have it.
You have the team to go out and do it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to let Seattle, a franchise that became a thing 2 years ago, have an opportunity to get to the Western Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me? I just don't understand what's going through their heads. And yeah, I don't really see the motivation, but the thing is they have the roster. They have it all. I'm really concerned. I think Seattle is now going to win this. I really do. I really do, because we see this sloppiness happen, go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Seattle's been playing like a bunch of dogs recently, where they just keep putting their foot on the pedal. They won't stop. They'll wear you out. They'll get in fights. They'll get in your head mentally. If Dallas keeps acting the way they do, I think they're in trouble.
I mean, you look at the series, right, and I don't want to be the guy that discredits the scrappy underdog that at this point has proven itself by being the defending Cup champs. I don't want to think they're a bad team, right?
Yeah.
Because I have preconceived notions of them. But I look at the goals they've scored in their wins, particularly. I
Yeah.
think that's not replicable. That is a fluke goal that has
Yeah.
now happened 3 or 4 times in a row. But
Mhm.
still, I'm not going to bet on that.
Yeah.
And so I look at this series and either one or two things is happening, right? Either Dallas is toying with them and is not taking them seriously and will soon turn up and win the rest of this, or Seattle has some magic to them. And we've seen magical runs happen before.
Vegas.
Vegas in 2017, right? Their first year.
Yeah.
Montreal in 2021. What did Montreal do in a cup final? And they were there.
Carey Price.
Yes, Carey Price.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
Philip Grubauer. Philip
Yeah.
Grubauer's been that guy so far.
For real.
So maybe it's one of those. I'm not betting on it. Dallas, I think, in 6 still.
In 6. Okay, I got you. I mean, like, I'm not saying I'm switching the pick, but Dallas has just got to, like I said, stop talking about it and just go out and do it, because they have so much better. I just don't know how to describe it. Like, it's literally, these guys have all been on different teams, especially a guy like Joe Pavelski, been with San Jose for so long, gets an opportunity to go down south, go to Dallas, a team that has Tyler Seguin, Jamie Benn, a bunch of older guys who are still good at hockey, even though they've had some rough years in the past.
They're still good.
They're making it work, though, right? They're getting young guys coming up. Robertson, great. Awesome. Like, you have everything you need to go out and win a cup this year, or at least get to the cup from your side.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it so difficult to get past a Seattle team that does not even come close to the same roster that you have?
Voodoo.
I don't know. I guess so. But I think this one's going to go pretty long too. I'm going to say another 7 here. I think I originally picked Dallas. I'll probably still pick Dallas, but I mean, game 7, anything can happen. So
if this series goes 7, do you think there is a point where any one of these games ends up as a close game?
No.
No.
All right. So literally next couple, like, I feel like the rest of this series, every win will be by 2 goals, not counting an empty net.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my prediction.
Fair enough.
Yeah. What about you? What are you thinking?
I think it tightens up.
Like consistent, like rest of the series, everything's like, okay, fair enough. I hope so. I want to watch those games.
Maybe I'm just an optimist.
I want to watch this game that we're watching right now. We've got 11 minutes left in the third, 2-2.
Wow.
This is what I live for right here. So, yeah. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it. So basically, I think we still pretty much got the same outcome now of our conference finals. Here, we're obviously going to. Well, you got Vegas instead of Oilers. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take the Oilers versus the Stars from the West, and then shockingly, originally I had the New Jersey Devils from the East, but I'm still picking Carolina now.
You've convinced me. I'm converted.
Yeah, it's happened. So, I think Carolina will be facing the Panthers, and yeah, that's gonna be a fun one. Those are gonna be some fun series to watch too.
Fun. It's an awesome matchup.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. But before we end the show, we had the NHL draft lottery the other night.
Yeah.
I am very familiar with the draft lottery because my team has been in it quite consistently over the past 10 to 12 years. So, yeah, it's insane. Chicago wins it after being the 3rd worst team in the NHL. Sorry, Columbus, you get booted. Sorry, Anaheim, who was the worst team, you get booted. I would have loved to see Trevor Zegras and Connor Bedard play together.
True C is crazy.
Like, oh my God.
That's crazy. I love it.
Immediate impact.
Oh my god.
Here's my last thought on that, though, before I let you go on a rant here. Chicago is blessed with Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves, Marion Hossa, Brett Seabrook, Duncan Keith. They win 3 cups. And then they go for the past 2 to 3 years. They got old. They all left. Sad times. So the NHL was like, we got to give them the new darling. Connor Bedard, please. Pack your bags. Pack your bags. You're going to Chicago.
Yeah.
You're saving the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved. All right. So, like, here's the thing. Me being like on the side of always losing the draft lottery, at least when it counted, because would have loved to have McDavid.
Yeah.
Sucks. Painful. I'm so happy he did not go to Columbus, though, because I think he would have been ruined there. His career would have been ruined.
Yeah,
I know you're thinking about like Johnny Gaudreau there still, and maybe some up and coming decent players they have there. I think his career would have been ruined by far. Like, no shot to see his true potential and just the excitement of the type of player that he is. I would have been fine with him in Anaheim too. I think that would have been a pretty cool duo to watch, that 1-2 punch between Zegras and Bedard. But then again, that's also unfair. So Chicago ultimately wins it. It's not like that he's going to make that big of a difference where they make the playoffs next year, because they're way far away from what they need to do to get into the playoffs, especially with how good the West is. And I think good, like, for the rebuild stage, but I'm kind of like, really had to give it to Chicago, like, after all the success. Like, I don't know. Give it to a team who hasn't been in a cup final in the past 20 years or something like that, Change it up a little bit.
No, I 100% agree with you. On the whole, I think that Chicago's a good spot for him because it's such a clean slate. I mean, they're starting from nothing at this point, right? They have really no one. They can do so many exciting new things. And I mean, thank God they traded last year's pick and not this year's pick for Seth Jones, but that's a whole different issue. Besides that, I mean, I would have loved to see him go to Arizona. To me, that was the most exciting one.
Yep.
I felt like they were, at the very least competitive this year. Like, they weren't the worst team again, and they would have.
Buddy, they're due for one. They're due for one.
Dude, they're trying. I think that would have been the best one. Columbus would have been a bad one. I agree. I think Montreal also might have been a bad one.
Well, I'll say this, for at least for you and me, the fact that
he's on the West.
They're in the West. Yeah, he's in the West. It's a lot better. Like, it's one less guy I have to like worry about, except for twice a year.
Let him deal twice, and then maybe the cup final down the line, whatever.
Yeah, we'll get Sabres are
cross that bridge when we get to it, right?
Yeah, you guys are focusing on doing that right now. So yeah, but I just think I would have loved to see Arizona get him.
Me too.
I'm just a big diehard actually Arizona fan. I mean, honestly, if you hate the Arizona Coyotes, like, you hate them, there is something wrong with you.
What's there to hate?
Exactly. So if you find a way, like, you're insane. You're absolutely insane. First off, their jerseys are like insane too. The logo is beautiful. The old school Coyote on there. I love everything about them. They're in the process of getting their new stadium or arena done, which is great for a team that's really just been, over the past 10 years, been hounded about, are they going to be a team down the road? Are they going to move to a different city in Arizona? Like, they've been through a lot. So I would have loved to see just them get a little victory. Not saying like that would be life-changing for them. I mean, it could be obviously down the road, but Just give him a little something. Plus, if you went there, then Matthews was going to go there after. Like, it would have been an awesome team
Matthews
down the road.
Bedard with 2 punches.
Oh, dude, let's
God,
go.
playing in a 5,000 seat stadium for the first year.
Could you imagine?
Oh my god, that would be crazy.
Bring out the college side of me. Love it.
Yeah, I do also I have a soft spot for Arizona. They remind me a lot of the mid 2000s Florida Panthers, which were essentially just a tax write off for many years.
Yeah.
They managed to turn it around, right? And you see the fans here, how they're coming out, how they're dedicated to this team. I think the same could be true in Arizona. I don't think it's a market that's lost. Like if you tell me they're going to be good and no one's going to show up, that's an absurd premise.
Yeah.
So I think they deserve a chance to turn it around there.
I agree. So obviously, with him going to Chicago, though, what do you think the total turnaround timetable is for them to get back into the playoff hunt? Not necessarily making the playoffs, but getting into the hunt. I think it's what they're about to do with their roster, with all their older guys and stuff, and just letting go of so many players, going to have to re-sign a bunch of contracts.
Yeah.
Do you think Connor Bedard is just going to be that attractive of a player to get free agents or to get people to maybe like waive no trade clause to go to Chicago and want to be a part of a rebuild, like part of their franchise?
Not right away, but down the line, I do believe so. It's obviously a pretty big market, Chicago, so that's a great advantage for them.
Yeah.
My plan in my head for them, if they're aggressive and they're smart about it, is a 3-year turnaround. Once that extension hits, that whatever it's going to be, 12.5, 13, who knows?
Yeah.
Once that hits after ZLC is done, then you're a contender, right? You have 3 years, you get draft picks, you get young guys again. That third year, then you sign vets to play along the side, and you make your run.
Gotcha. Now, do you think they're capable of doing it?
No, I don't.
Yeah, that's
I
what I
don't.
was
I
going
don't trust them.
That's where I'm at. I don't think. Well, also too, I think just the other teams are getting hot in the NHL of becoming somewhat of a destination, right? That's all. That's what you hear about when it comes to the trade deadline, draft night, whatever it may be. Is what team is the destination to free agents or whatever player is available at the moment that they can really make an impact on a set team to make a run at a cup or whatever it may be. Right now, Chicago is not a destination to go to. If you're looking for a big contract, maybe, especially when some of their other big ones expire. But right now, even if I was one of the best players out there, I'm not leaving or signing with Chicago just because they have a kid. That's insane. They don't have the full team, and I think it's going to take a lot more than 3 years.
The problem also being that they're in the Central Division, and I don't see any teams at the top of the Central
No.
Division getting worse, meaningfully worse, anytime soon. I mean, you have Colorado; they're going to be good for many years. Dallas, same thing. Minnesota, I trust to stay competitive. They have a lot of young talent still coming up, even with a little bit of a transition coming. I still think they're going to be good. Winnipeg is probably going to fall out. I think that's the one you look at. But besides that, I mean, you have so many teams that are building the right way and building consistently. It's going to be tough to break in that division.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's about it with the draft lottery.
Yep.
Pretty interesting stuff, and I think we're just watching these series though. I'll touch base one more time on here. It is just so amazing how much the physicality has changed after the whistle, in my opinion, at least from what we were used to growing up. Just give me your opinion real quick. Like that little incident the other day with the Oilers and Golden Knights.
Mm.
What are your thoughts? Like what's going through your head when you see that, being the age that you are and what type of hockey you saw growing up?
It's tough because I think physicality is definitely part of the game, and body checks and fights, and they're all accepted, and it's part of it, right?
Yeah.
I think there has to be a line between competition and then beyond competition. And once that
Yeah.
whistle blows, the play's dead, right? You're not playing the game anymore.
Hmm.
And from that point on, that's when things start to go wrong, I think.
Yeah.
In general, right? Players can get hurt, not fans get involved, but it starts to, I think, send the wrong message at that point that this is beyond just competition and feistiness and like desire. This is bordering on unsafe.
Yeah. I mean, I get that aspect. Um, I'm a little bit old school though. I mean, I just think the one thing that I love about hockey is they have so much going on in the game to think about.
Yeah.
They have to think about scenarios like that. Who's going in to, bring in the reinforcements? How are you going to respond? Which guy's going to drop the gloves after to finish off that whatever happened in that set situation? But on top of that, they're focusing on trying to win a game, right?
Mhm.
Like that's the sole difference between hockey and literally any other sport is the fact that when the playoffs hit, especially the I mean, literally just the speed, the hitting is so much higher, so much bigger. And yes, to an extent, everything is about safety nowadays. And I think it's very important. But at the end of the day, it's why do you play a sport? You play a sport to win, right?
Win.
You do everything you possibly can to win. I mean, these are the gladiators on ice, right?
Mhm.
That's what I grew up watching. So yes, what happened the other night, I don't think we need it in the game today. But the responses, like when the refs come in, they let them fight a little bit, let them go. I kind of love to see like them back off a little bit. I was just like, yes, this is great. Like, let them
Mhm.
go at it. I mean, obviously, no one fell down after a while too, so that's why they intervened. But
Yeah,
it
that's
kind of
good.
reminded me of like the old type of hockey we used to watch.
Absolutely.
So I thought it was pretty cool. I was really into it.
Very nice.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, anything else you want to say here, Sam, before we end the show?
Let's go Panthers.
Let's go Panthers. I'll give you a go Panthers. All right,
Yes,
boy.
sir.
Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will see you guys sometime next week. Probably going to get into the last little bit of the second round when we get to those game 6s and 7s. But thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next time.